So hey guys, let me quickly show you how we're going to texture your streetlights, and also we're going to create a collision model for that for it. And let's go quickly through the progress. So first of all, we're going to create a new material inside Maya. You will of course do all the same shit in Blender on your own. I guess you're like definitely fit enough for that. So I will just skip that with Blender, but I will show you still the same progress in Maya. So let's create a new material, assign new material. Take a font, whatever. We call it Streetlight Russia 01 underscore matte. Then we're going to select the correct texture. The texture set I already sent it to you, so I have it here open on the right side on my right screen. So I won't show you everything because you know how it works. We're going to add the base color. Then we click on this button and we're going to add the transparency, like the opacity. And we click back again, and we can also add, we don't need it, but we can also add the normal map. So for this we add a bump map. Oops. So here, click there and go there. Select the normal map. We click back, and we're going to set it from like bump to tangent space normal. And that's pretty much it for the assigning of the textures. And it's automatically assigned when we say assign new material and create one. But you can also, after you created the material, you can assign it by hand by assign existing material and then select the right one here. Also, let's quickly rename the mesh here. Let's call it Street Light Russia 01. And now we can also save the scene quickly. Let's quickly do it on the desktop. And we call it the same name, Street Light Russia 01. And we could have just copied the name, but yeah, I missed that, but it's not important. So, and now let's go to the next step. We need to create a correct UV map now for the mesh. For this, we have multiple choices how we achieve it, but let's start with the, in my opinion, the simplest one. We just do auto mapping quickly, and we check out the pieces we get. And so let's take a look at the mesh. And I can tell you already, we definitely somewhere a seam. And for our purposes, and specifically for like a lamp like that, you need to decide where you put the seam. And let's just put it onto the backside. So X is always forward for static meshes. It's different for skeletal meshes, but that's another story. But on a static mesh, it's always like X forward. I will quickly do unlock normals. That's the button we only need for Maya, and it didn't. Now it worked. So we get the right edge, hard edge and soft edges. Yeah, how to name that? Yeah, the right hard and soft edges. So that's why you unlock the normals in Maya, and this is a specific script. You can find it in the forum of Maya, but I can give it to you later at a certain point when we need it. But for now, we don't care. So, and let's go. We need to map it correctly now, and the best situation would be, let's see. Oh, I see that the mesh is not perfectly rotated here a bit. Let's quickly, yeah, we don't need to anti-rotate it. It's really, we don't care. So let's just start with the cutting. So we take the whole backside edge of the lamp, and we now go to the UV editor, and we don't need this top guy here, and just deselect it. And now we say shift right mouse button and say cut. And you see now we have another cut. We created another cut like all the others. So, and now let's quickly select just the lower part of the whole lamp. And we can grow the selection to get the rest that we need till here. And now we're going to the UV editor and move everything to the side. And we can also see here something is still connected, and that's the top part here. So for this top part, we just select everything. And we can now do another automatic mapping, or you can also do a planar mapping based on the Z. And this will look like, based on Z, you can see it here, and it will look like this. So exactly how it should look like, right? So of course the scale is not correct, but we're taking care of that later in one big shot. So we focus really on the lower part right now. This is the bottom part. This is this guy here. And we also don't care about this guy right now because it's already correctly mapped. So, and we just take care of this part here right now, right? So let's see. We created this large theme here, so let's go to the edge mode. We select everything. So we have selected everything in the UV editor by face mode. Now we go to the edge mode. Everything is selected, and now we deselect the already cutted part, like we did here, right? We also need to deselect this edge ring here by double clicking on it and pressing Control button and double click on it. And if I'm not completely wrong, we could now merge everything into one big shell, but I also see this part here, like everything that has a 90 edge degree border, we should deselect. So we deselect this as well. Also, we can deselect this part here, and let's do this part also. And at the bottom, we take this part, of course, and this, and this. Pretty much all hard edges. You can define it by that mostly, right? So let's go up. Let's check on the top where we have more of those guys, like this one here, and those two guys we also should deselect. And over here we have this guy, this edge, and this edge. So now, if I'm not completely wrong, we should just go to the UV editor and press Shift, right mouse button, and say Move and Sew Edges. And I would say it's perfect. You see now everything is like one shell, except of the cuts we have set it here, right? So, and let's go up. Let's take a look here. And I would say that's perfect. So the next thing we can do is we can straighten this UV shell here. Oh, first of all, before we do that, let's go quickly do an optimize. And we have some non-manifold geometry. I think we need to take a look at that at a certain point. But let's take care, let's take care of this a bit later. So, and now you see we are pretty much all good with our shells, and now we just need to do the standard work by checking out the seams are not there where they should. Like now we move and sew again, so those guys don't have any cuts. And now we can take all of this stuff here. We move this to the side for a moment. And we can lay out this by UV. And yeah, it wasn't really necessary, this step. Sometimes I also made the wrong steps. So don't follow my tutorial always one by one. But mostly this is a good way to go. So, textile density, really important. The textile density will set the scale of each part at the same size against each other. So remember, like this was the upper part, right? Like this guy, and this guy here was the lower part, right? But the sizes of the shells are completely different, and this is caused by the mapping, of course. So we need to fix this by setting all the shells the same density, by setting a density based on the map size, and then we press set. Boom. And now you see, when you layer it again, all shells have now the correct size against each other. So for now, we can skip the lower part. We need to go back here later, but for now we can skip it. Let's take now care of the upper part. This is this stuff here. And pretty much again the same procedure as below. let's take care of each important part on its own. So this is like the holders, how you name that. We'll move that over here. We have the classes, I guess. This is the classes here, yes. And we don't need the top part here. And let's move the classes over there. And now we take care of the rest by deselecting the lower part, holding the shift button and selecting the upper part. And we can deselect the lower part here as well, we don't need it. Okay, and we move this now to the left side where it is already. So what else? We have, of course, this part here. We should make a cut here again, right? We had the same story on the large poles. So we set a cut over there. And we have another thing. We need to do the cut for this guy here, right? So let's do this cut. It's because it's the same backside, right, of the mesh. So we do always the same cuts everywhere. So let's go here and we set the cut. And the rest gets now merged. And then we unfold it and you see, oh, it's a good mesh, good map now. So it's not perfectly mapped. It's a bit, how to say that? It should be a full circle. Right, so, but it isn't. But we also can, what we can do is we can straighten it by, say, straight UV. And this doesn't work always, of course. So, how do we do that quickly now? The best situation would be, let's quickly unitize the whole shell system here by pressing, we select everything and set unitize. Now, the whole thing gets like map planar. And we select we go into edge mode, we select the side edges, and then we deselect, of course, our backside edge. And now we merge it again. And you get this perfectly shaped UV shell. And if you go to unfold it now, it will do this again. And if you do optimize, it does this. So, but we keep it like this. And we set the right scale by just pressing the set button again. And now it's finished with the mapping. So what else? Yeah, good thing, good important thing to know and to say. We need to assign class material on this part here, because this is its own material later. So we call it class mat. We make it quickly a bit transparent, get it a blue color, and that's pretty much it. So now let's take care of the rest. And for the classes, I have this specific tool. It calls Polyraven UV Tools. It has this amazing option to orient all shells to their world space by setting it world space, like the upper part is like Z, right? Because we're using Z up here. You can see it down here. And when I go to pivot in world mode, you see also that the blue axis, the Z axis, is always pointing upwards. X is pointing forwards and Y is pointing sidewards. That's how we mostly work as much as possible. I couldn't say always, but as much as possible. We're now going to select all shells in the shell mode, and then we say orient UV shells based on that setup. And now every shell is correctly rotated. You can see it over there. They were wrong, and now they are correct. And you don't need to worry about that any other shell is like rotated into the wrong direction. It's good now. So let's, just for fun, we lay out everything one more time again, get everything back together. Let's set it to the right size and now map it again. Now every part has the right size against each other, so we don't need to worry about that some parts have a wrong scaling. Now let's start to texture it, right? So let's start with the bottom here. We enable texture mode in Maya by pressing the 6, what is the button? And this needs to be activated as well. And now let's see. We don't need that lower part here. We just need this part. Oh, we missed one cut over there. There's no cut, but we just do it by selecting the edge here, and we're going to say cut. And now we can go back to the UV shell mode and select the shell and move it upwards in this area, because this is the area we want for the lower part. And we still see no texture. This is the thing we're going to fix now. By pressing the right buttons. So this is the right setup here. This must be activated. I thought this one, but it's this one and this one. So these two buttons need to be activated so you see the texture correctly. This needs to be, of course, now straightened, right? It's like not correct for mapping. So what we're going to do now, we're going to optimize it once so it's like fitting the shape that it has better by optimizing it. And now we're going to straighten it. And now you see we have a good, perfectly straightened out shell that fits perfectly to our texture here. So, and I moved this now to the window to the side screen, just for the reason I can see it on the 3D model way better then. But the only thing I'm going to do now is scale it up and down and move it up and down. And that's it. More I won't do now. So, scale this a bit more up, up, up. And let's move it up and down. And let's see what's over there. This is here, here, here. Okay. Do we need the ornaments on that lower part? Let me check our other models. So this is always a good thing to do, is check the other models you already did, so to get a good comparison. Let's quickly take a look at the old streetlight. Don't worry, it has the wrong naming, I know that. I will fix that at a certain point. So here we see also the same system. Yeah, let's go. Let's go with the way we did it here. And if we want to raise the quality, the scale here, we can do the following. We can set a cut over there in the center and stack those guys and scale it up again. So we created a new seam, but the overall resolution is now doubled. And that's not bad. So, and let's quickly adjust some details with the edges so we have the perfect transition from one shell to the other shell, like that. And that's it. Now let's take care of this part here, right? So let's go to this, we select it. And let's do another cut over there. Let's straighten it out. Let's optimize it. Straighten it out again. Now we move it down there. And we scale it up as much as we need it. Can also widen it. Like this here. And the same thing, you can also make a cut over there and stack it and scale it again. Same thing as before, but for this, let's keep it for now. What you also can do when you have like, if you like don't want to have everything overlapped later, you can always take a shell, move the pivot to some grid, and just move it to another UV area, like this or this or this. Just needs to be in the right square, right? So let's redo this, and we can do the same with this guy and move it over there. And you see nothing has changed in the texture, it's the same, but the order is a bit like different, like it's better sorted for, like the overview is a bit better. Let's keep it like this. So let's take care of this guy next. What is this guy? It's this part here. So same procedure, right? So let's optimize it. Let's straighten it out if it's possible. We have some problems with the straighten out here. So let's fix that by take this edge and this UV edge and we just scale it back. So it's straightened, and now we can optimize again and straighten it out again. And you see now it's way better. So what we're going to do next is we move it to the center. We scale it up so it's in that right area. And now we move it a little bit up and down. So we choose the right design. We also can rotate it if we want, but you already remember we rotated it correctly. So by this, and you see it flips it back again. So this is the right rotation. So, and let's stay like that. What else we can do? We can push it a bit together. But yeah, I would say this is good for now. We can go back anytime later and retexture it a bit, make the texture a bit better, because we don't have any baking process over here. So this is not a big deal. So now let's take care of this large pole here. And there's something special I want to show you. So first of all, we make this cut over there, right? So we have this a bit separated. We're going to optimize it again. We're going to straighten it out. And now we want to put it here, right? And we would scale it up like this. But what happens now? We overlap the other part here, right? So it will always, you see it here, repeats the opacity part with the standard part, with the opacity part, with the standard part, and so on. What can we do? We can add a edge loop here, 1 and 2 and 3. Let's move this guy to the side here, right? Because we know that's the same area. And we're going to cut our shell, like our shell, into 4 pieces. We stack it. And now it fits way better. We can cut it one more time. Or we can also like just scale it down. Both are valid ways to go. Depends always on the quality you want to achieve, and also it depends on how the textures look against each other. It's a bit unique. It's a bit of a special workflow here because it's not like the classic workflow like we have where the whole texture is in one shell. This is a bit special workflow because we use an atlas of different areas and a packed texture. So you see this would be the original size, so we have a little bit higher quality than we need. So that's it for that part. We can move this also over here, but you can also keep it over here, whatever, it doesn't really matter. So what else? We have now the whole lower part from here till here, and we are missing only, in marks only, the upper part. And the upper part is definitely, it gets harder as higher we go here. So let me take care of this stuff. What is this? This is just another ornament part. Let's move it to the side. Give it the right scale, optimize it. In this case, I don't optimize it. I try to just straighten it out, and you see it works perfectly. Now we can optimize it and then straighten it out again. And we're like good to go. Now we scale it up again. And you see it's already good enough. So next part, this guy here. Same procedure, right? Let's see the upper part here. Is it? Yeah, it's good that we split it. So let's do another split. Or a cut, whatever, it's the same here. So we select the part now and same procedure. Go there, optimize it, straighten it out, and we put it in the right spot. So what I'm doing here is now, you see it has a slight gap here between the two, like it's a bit over the line. So I just go to the view mode, select the whole UVs, and hold the X button and move it on the grid. So it's perfectly inside the texture shell that it needs to be. And now we can move it to the side, like here, right? Stack it. Also, you can expand it a little bit for more space. And you see here, this is the difference. It's a bit more stretched now. No, the other opposite of stretch, like pushed together. Forgot the word. Tighten. Depends. It's both a valid thing. So it doesn't need to be perfect always. Specifically in the mass of the game, nobody cares. If it's not too much off, nobody cares. So let's go to the next thing. This is this guy here, and let's select this here. And it will be an ornament again, I'd say. So let's make it the right size. Let's straighten it out. Let's optimize it one more time. Straighten it out again. Orient. I have to press orient once so it's right rotated. Straighten it out again. And now we scale it a little bit. As you see here, that's what I did. I scaled it up so it fits on the borders again. Put it to the center. And we are good to go. Let's select the right ornament part here by moving it just up and down, right? I showed you that before twice. And let's take this here. This looks good. So, and also one last thing, so that for the stretching and the upper and the lower part, if you want to have it on a clean area of the texture, you just scale it up and down, or you go to the view mode and you just select the upper part and move it up and down so it fits for your needs. So, and let's go to the next part. What else? I don't want to do this, guys, because they're a little bit annoying, but let's go for it. So, what can we do on this, guys? We first of all go to the isolation mode. It's 4 times the same mapping. In this case, you could just map it 4 times, but this is annoying, right? So let's do something else. So we create quickly a copy. First of all, we delete 3 of those. We just keep 1. Then we make a copy of the whole mesh. We just select the part that we want to map, invert selection, delete everything else, go back to the main guy, and delete this part again. And now we have separated this part from the main mesh, right? So it's two meshes now. Now we just map this guy once. And now let me show you one of my favorite functions in Maya. You can map by camera angle. So we just select the faces we want to map. We ignore the side part. We just map it the front and upper part, lower part, by camera. And we're going to see now what happens. We make this a little bit smaller here and press apply. Boom. Now you have one piece of a planar mapped object, and we just need to cut it twice. Let's move it quickly a bit down so we don't have the opacity part here, right? So, and now we need to cut it. And we cut it over here. And we cut it over there if there is a mesh. Face, I mean. Sorry, not mesh, face. But there isn't. That's good. We don't need that face. So we just need that one face up here. Good job, by the way, guys. And we going to edge mode now. And set right mouse button. Shift right mouse button, sorry, and set cut. So you see now it's cutted. And now this part and this part are separated by each other, and this part as well. So let me show you. Boom, boom, boom. And we have the side parts here as well. And now we need to optimize this guys once. And let me move this a bit like this. Let's straighten this out. Same with this guy. We need to rotate it a little bit straight, and now we can straighten it out. This guy we can also straighten out. And also let's quickly take care of the scale ones. So this is now scaled correctly against each other, right? And I just mapped it once so we can see it a little bit better. What about this, guys? We could straighten that out. It would make sense, definitely. But to be honest, it's not worth the time. because when I straighten it out now, you will see it will make problems like this, because this has the huge corner, huge curve here, right? Corner, whatever, and same at the bottom here. So I show it to you once, so you get a feeling for it, how you can fix this. You need to go to each part and make it a bit more straight. And I'm not sure there's better tools. I think so. Also, the Polyraven UV tool has something for that too. I think straighten edge is it, or straighten mesh. I don't know. Doesn't matter right now. I don't want to get too much into detail. Just for your info, just straighten it out a little bit, and then you can press the straighten button again, and you see now it's more or less straight. And then you need to go one more time here and straighten out the edges on their own by scaling that correctly. And now this is now we optimize it once, so it has the right all edges have the right distance against each other. Now we straighten it out again, and this is like perfect now. And the visual part will be now that you let me take the ornaments. It now follows perfectly the texture, and over there with that other part to compare it, we should use a checker now quickly. Let's check quickly a checker. We quickly assign new material. Let's do a Phong, and let's move everything to the side. Now we go to select a checker, and if we scale it up now a lot, so you can see the difference perfectly. So this is the straighten out guy, and the checker is following the shell and the UVs. So it bends with the mesh. It's not perfect. It has like weird behavior like this. But if you have a straight line on the texture, the straight line will bend as well, and it looks good at the end. So, and if you compare to the other side now, this looks, let's say, a bit better. But you see, the squares are not following the bending. They have always the same rotation here, right? And you can see this is the mesh with the wrong pattern, and this is the mesh with the right pattern. But again, this is just a super small piece, right? Look at this. It has on the far distance, and the player is, let's say, he's 180 large, like this. This is our player, and this is a super small part that we spend, let's say, way too much time right now to map it correctly. So fuck it. Let's say fuck it. Nobody cares. The distance, nobody can see it from the distance that it's like that. So we can just go with that way, right? So this is not really necessary. So let me destroy it by just unfold it again, and it looks now correct. I orientate it now, and we assign the right texture now again, right? Our streetlight material. And what we're going to do now is we scale it a bit down. We scale everything back to each other. And we can now stack this and just put it here. And boom, done. You could have like curvature for the borders later on a different texture, but again, this is quadruple A stuff, I would say, right? So this is more than enough. And now we have the thing that we have this piece here, right, as a single mesh. And what we're going to do now, we copy it back 3 times by duplicating it and rotating it. So I go to the rotate mode, I press Ctrl D, and now I move it by 90 degrees. And now by 180, and then by 270. Oh, sorry, 270. Okay, and now we just we take our main mesh, copy the name. This is our player, we don't need it anymore. And we just select everything, combine it. We do delete history, and now we make the name correctly again, and the rest we don't need anymore, we delete it. And that is this for this guys here. So what else is missing? Let me move this to the side. We don't need that. We have this pieces here left over, right? And let me move this to the side as well. Boom. And this is the pieces that are this is the rest we have. And let's take a look what it is. It's this parts here. Oh, and the lower parts here. So let's take care of this guys now. They can be simply stacked in shell mode. And you can keep it over there. And what else? Oopala, sorry. We're going to select this guys again now. Press Control 1 for isolation. And this is an easy mesh. And this is also we mapped it, right? Remember? So now we're going move this here down here, go to shell mode, stack them, and put them over there. And done. So this windows here, they are also like perfectly mapped already, right? So let's do another stack. Or let's don't stack them. We don't stack them. So they have each of them have a unique texture area. We just, I would say we just sort them a bit better by doing this, right? And let's move this over there. And they're good to go. Now we take a look at the rest, what is missing. And we have this part and this guy. They can just be, you know what? I'd say this is pretty much done for now. We just take all of this now, we stack it, put it there, and that's good. Now let's do we delete the history one more time, take care of that the transformations are freeze, so everything is like scaled 1 by 1, rotating and translate is like all 0. And now we're going to export it by just overriding the original one, or let me call it like lamp02, make an own file for it. Oh, sorry, no, we call it Streetlight Russia 01. And this was the guy, and we're going to export it one more time again. We close now Maya. Now we go to the game. Create a new folder called, let's say, Russia. Again, Soviet Union like Sov would also be correct. It's a bit hard. Naming is a hard thing. Trust me. So you need to make decisions, and sometimes the decisions are right, sometimes they're wrong, and to fix the wrong part, it's like way too much time to fix it, so you go with it. So now we're going to import a new asset, and we're going to import the streetlight. Press import, and ignore the question mark here. That's something to do with the source control. Let me quickly turn it off. We don't need it right now. And let's quickly create a new level. And now we can drag and drop it here. And you see we have our streetlight. So, of course, two things are missing. One thing is the texture, and the other thing is, or like the materials, and the other thing is the collision model. So let's go through it step by step. First of all, we save it. Now we know that we use the same texture as we used for the German one. So let's go to the German guy here, and we just copy over the material. And for reasons, we don't take this one. We make an own copy, and we name it correctly, Streetlight 01 Russia. And now we select this, and we can assign the material right over there. Boom. And you see now the ornaments are at the right spot here that we had, and the mesh is also at the right part here. So it's all that how we took the look at it in Maya. We go quickly back to the German one for selecting. Oops, I select the blueprint. You don't need to. You can just ignore it. So we select the original guy now, and we now take the street light. And for this one, we don't need a extra one. We just copy over the name and just paste the name here. And we now. Oh, I see. I have like two. We have two instances right now. One for the German, one for the French. So we could use another one for the Russian. But let's don't care about this right now. We do that for the Russians later. We just take the German one. And you can see it. If you hover over it, you see the path, and it says like German streetlight materials. So we take this one. Boom. And that's pretty much it for now. I don't like the texture yet. There can be a lot more. It can be a lot better. But for now, we don't care about. We just change the color. We go to the shader, and we can change some colors over there. See here, right? And oh, that's the wrong streetlight. No, this is the German one, the Russian one. Let's turn off the colors here, or let's give it our own colors. So like this. And what I'm going to do now, I just press right mouse button, press copy, and paste the colors on all the other ones as well. So everything has pretty much the same color. But you also can, of course, change the color a bit so it has slightly difference here like this and here. Now we're going to create a collision model. Let's quickly do that. We have two options now. One option is a round shape or a cube shaped. So let me quickly think. Let's do a cube shaped, so it's better for the cover system later. Just and this is pretty much it. So, and now we move this part up here. So this is for the lower part. And let's take care of the upper part as well here. We make this a bit smaller. Go up one more time. Oh, yeah, you created the mesh a bit like rotated, right? This is the point where it bites us a little bit in the ass, but it's not a big deal right now because we can just rotate it a little bit and now make another copy. Quickly rotate this guy here. And that is a good enough collision model already. So it doesn't need to be that perfect for reasons. And now what I always do, I create another material for the collision. And we call it collision matte. We make a blue color here and give it an opacity of by 50%. And if we go out of isolation now, it looks like this. Now we need to quickly name the collision model correctly by giving it the right name, of course. So we have two different kinds of shapes. We have the convex collision. It's like this shapes. It's not a cube. And we have the cube collision, like the lower shapes. Those lower shapes, the cubes, get the naming UBX for Unreal Box Collision, underscore mesh name, underscore number. And the number gets automatically generated now in Maya by just pressing enter. And if it's missing this number, you just add a 2. And same here. We say UCX for Unreal Complex Collision. Same story. If number is missing, just add a 1. Now we put them below here, and you can put them into your own folder. If it's annoying, call it like collision, or you split this like collision. Or what I also do, I split those guys up by making 2 groups. One group is calling UBX, and the other group is calling UCX. This is good for like larger meshes that have like lots of collision models. So now I'm pressing the export button and export this mesh again. Now I'm re-importing the mesh. And now if you take a look at the collision, boom, you see we have the perfect collision. And now if we put it inside the level, we have it inside the level, we create a player. Let's create a player here. And give the player a weapon. Let's do STG44. We press play now. We press play now. And if we go now to that nearby that mesh, you see he's already. Sorry for that lagging. It's sometimes on pressing play a bit laggy. And you see now he's going to that into cover behind on that mesh based on the collision. And you maybe have wondered why the collision model is not perfectly to the lower part, right? You see this, but you see in game it doesn't really matter, right? Because the character doesn't touch the mesh at all with his feet. So you only would notice it by shooting on it. But even that, it's not that accurate here in that game. So that's a good way to go. All right, I think that's it for now. And good luck, guys.